In our previous session, we have seen how to create simple XML schema, and using that XML schema, we have created the XML file. So let me, in a quick way, let me create the file. Let me delete everything. So this is the demo Java simple Java project what I have. From the resources folder, I'm going to right click on it, say other, and say XML. First of all, I'm going to create XML. So I'm going to name it as employees. So this is structure what I'm going to follow. Okay, this is structure what I'm going to follow. So I want the structure. So inside the employees, I need to have employee. So there's a closing and ending tag. So inside the employee, so let's say this is the first employee. So first for the first employee, let's say that I need to have. So inside this employee, we're going to have address tag. Okay, or else we can say first name and the same sequence within the same level, but at the second order, we're going to have the last name. So closing tag and the starting tag. So this is the structure what I want. And similarly, the ending tag for the last name. This is the structure what I want. So what I want to do is this structure what I want. Okay. So let me jump onto the Eclipse, and I have created the default schema. It has taken default. It has taken the namespace from the W3 org 2001 XML schema, and the target namespace it has taken default name. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to do little modifications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to my website name. It can be company name. So similarly, this is a target namespace. The same target namespace and the schema I need to provide. So the main reason for the TN is because we already have the XML namespace to decrease the ambiguity. To differentiate both the namespaces, we have TNS. And the element qualified is this thing. To distribute the element without using the without using the alias name. So inside this, as I said, this is the structure we want, right? In previous sessions, I have already discussed about this thing. So let me right click on it and select element. This for the employees. This is my root tag. So inside my element, I need to have. You can see that. So it has some child tags. So this is complex. And employee, coming to the employee, this has some child tags. So this is the complex. And coming to the first name, this is simple because it doesn't have any attributes or child tags. So employees and employee are the complex tags, and the first name, the last name are the simple tags. Simple elements. So as with the complex element, let me select complex tag. So inside the complex array, I need to select sequence. So inside the sequence, I'm going to create the element. The element for the I'm going to create the element for the this is for the employee, and this is a complex element. So I need to create complex tag. complex type. To inside the complex type, I need to create sequence. In the sequence, I have two simple elements. What are they? One is first name, other one is last name. So control space, select element. So inside it name, and I have the name. So this is my first name, and so I also this is simple. I need to mention the type. So type is string. Similarly, let me create other simple element. That's for the last name. So this is also type. So this how. So let's say that we have one more employee. Instead of one more employee, then we need to repeat this sequence. Sorry, not repeat the sequence. Let's say that inside the um, so you can see this is going in a form of a rocket. So again, in the first time, okay, I forgot. This is not what order I should be maintaining. So inside it, let's say that this is my order, what I want to follow. So let's say this is the order what I want. Here I should have employees, closing tag and the starting tag. So inside the employees I need to have employee. So inside the employee I need to have address. So I need to have name. So inside the name I need to have first name and last name. So the closing tag and the starting tags. And the same way last name. So this is structure. With this structure, what I need to do is inside it I need to create one more element, and it should have complex type, and inside it I need to create sequence. So this sequence should have element. So what is that element? So the element is what is name? Yeah, name is first name. So and it's of the type string. Similarly, the same sequence I need to have the last name, and it's also of the type string. So this is the order I want to follow. I got some issue here. Let me place my cursor here. It's saying that ref name must be present in local. Okay, not sure about it. Let me validate it. Okay, here it's asking for a name. The name is address, right? Name is name. Name name. But right click on validate it. Whenever we have the element, we should have the name. That's a mistake. Okay, so this is order. So again, in the first name, should we have any kind of subdivisions, again this thing is going to go like a flow. But if you look at this thing, this for the employee name. So again, let's say that we need to have the multiple iterations. Let's say that this needs to be repeated for multiple times. If this needs to be repeated for the multiple times, let's say that these are two iterations. Okay. you look at this thing, we have something in a common. That is, first name and last name is getting the same complex type is repeating here. Okay, so that's the common part. So to avoid this common part, what we can do is, okay, to avoid this common part, we can do a few things. Okay. So to avoid the repetition, what we do is we need to separate the common complex types. So let me remove this complex type from here and place it outside the element. Okay. So when I have separated the complex type, we need to give some name. So let's say that this is first, last, complex. This is the name what I have given. If at all, this one needs to make use of this thing. Let's say that so employee, sorry, the name has this complex type. So what we need to do is when you say type and enter the name of the complex here. Let me right click on it and save. Okay. So what we need to do is I have separated the name type. Similarly, we have one more complex type. Let me separate that one. So we should not have the we should have always have this complex type separately so that it can be reused by some other element. So I say that whenever we have whenever we separate the complex type, we need to give some name to it. So let's say that this is this employee complex. So and this is how we have. So this employee in the employee complex is being used by employee. So what we need to do is we need to use type. So whoever needs to make use of it, they need to have this attribute type and they need to give the complex name. That's how we create the relationship. So coming here, the name is going to make use of this complex type. So we need to have the attribute known as type and let me give the complex name. Okay. So let me format and right click on it and say validate. So I'm getting some error. Let me see what exactly. It was edited at employee complex is in the namespace. This thing. It's saying that it is in the namespace this thing. But component from the namespace are not referencing the document this thing. Okay. So to link to our so these attributes are not from this. So let me read one more time. What is it saying that? It is saying that add a resolving component employee complex. It was detected that employee complex is in the namespace this. Okay. The components from the namespace are not referencing from the schema. Okay. So it is saying that these values are not referring from the target namespace. So that is the reason. So what we need to do is we need to add prefix. So wherever you want to make use of it, wherever you find the type and wherever you need to make use of this complex type, you need to add the, now we don't have any errors. So this is how, what we can do is this is how we can make use of the complex types multiple times. So this is one example. So let's try one more example. Okay. Okay. So going ahead with the one more example, one more schema. Let's try this. Let me close this and create an XML file for this using this schema. Before I click on it, say XML other XML XML. Then I'm going to give some name. employee. So I'm going to say next. So I'm going to create XML file by using by referring some schema, so which is present in the resources. I'm going to say next. Okay, don't want this name. If I remove this name, it's not going to add prefix. You can see using that schema that's created the first name and last name. Let me do some modification okay, so that let's say that this employee type can repeat, can have the by default it could have a maximum minimum reference of 1. So I'm going to say minimum is 1. I'm going to say a maximum occurrence of this is 5 or 3. Let me save it. If you go to schema, you can have these 3 iterations. You can have up to 3 iterations. So when you have it for the 4th time, it's going to show the error, because in the XML file we clearly say that this iteration, this employee iteration can occur maximum of 3 times. Okay, as we have created for the 4th time, it is showing the problem. Let me place my cursor. So I'm saying that invalid content was found starting with the element employee. No child element is expected at this point. So let me remove one iteration. So I have the 3 iterations, 1, 2, and 3. Now it's not showing anything. Okay, that's about this thing. So let's try with one more. I'm going to right click on it and say XML schema, and I'm going to name it as employee data. Now we can close these old files. Okay, so this is a schema. So this is the name. This is the default namespace and target namespace. It has created with some URL. You can add your company name. You can add anything. When you the target namespace and the namespace for the target namespace. This target namespace and the namespace for the target namespace, those should be same, right? And the qualified is qualified. So inside it, I'm going to create element. So what is my requirement is, so I'm going to have EMP data. Okay. So EMP data, I'm going to have employee. I'm going to have EMP. For the EMP, I'm going to have few features. This is my root tag. Inside, I'm going to have EMP. For the EMP, I'm going to have data like let's create in a different way. Okay. So EMP, first of all, it's going to have the E number. So E number is simple. Okay, then it's going to have name. So name is a complex. Again, the name in the name it's going to have, so this is the one element, and again in the name it's a complex element. This is a simple element starting and ending tag, and this is a complex element. Again it's going to have some sub elements, sub tags, first name is last name. Okay, that's the second tag, and the third tag, third simple element is, this is a sequence it's going to have salary starting and ending tag. So the fourth one is gender, and this is also a simple element. The fourth tag could have address. So address can be the complex, but I'll just create the simple address element. So this structure, what we need to have, let's jump onto the Eclipse and create according to it. I'm going to select employee. So this emp data. So inside this, I'm going to have one complex because emp data is a complex. I'm going to select sequence. The sequence, I'm going to have an element with the name with the name emp. So emp is a complex data type. So I'm going to create complex type. So the complex type, I'm going to create the sequence. The sequence, I'm going to have a few elements like I'm going to have e number, which is of type. This is because it's a simple element. Um, okay. So in the same sequence, I'm going to have one more element. It's a complex element. That is the um, name. So I'm going to create complex type. Inside it, complex type, I'm going to have sequence. The sequence, I'm going to have element. So the name of the element is first name, and it's of the type string. And similarly, I'm going to have last name, and this is the simple element. Okay, that's about the name. Coming to this, okay, let me create one more element, and it's of the type. It has also a simple type. So I'm going to add the name as gender, and it's of the type, and it's of the type string. And similarly, I'm going to have one more thing as a salary. This salary, this is gender, and this is address. Gender and address are of the data type, and whereas it's of the double. Control space double. Salary of double. Okay. Now, if you look at this thing, so we have the complex types. It's always a good practice. It's a mandatory to always separate the complex data types. First of all, let me take this out and let me give some name to it. What the name is? So using this name, I'm going to lick the name. So to link the name, I'm going to do type. So inside the type, I'm going to paste this name. So that has linked to the name. Okay. So let me find other complex. Yeah, this is the other complex. Let me copy this. Let me cut this. Let me paste it here. Paste it here and let me Control Shift and F. So I have the complex type. Let me say name. Let me add a name to it. And this is the employee type, right? So I'm going to say employee complex. This is the employee complex, and I'm going to give type. So inside it, I'm going to give this name. So I already said that whenever we make use of the type, it's from the target namespace. So we must and should add the prefix TNS. Similarly, we are using it somewhere. Yeah, here. So we should add prefix here. Okay. So similarly, we have one more complex. This is the complex. So let me copy this and place it outside the element. Let me copy this, cut it, and paste it. Paste it outside. So as I have copied, let me give a name. So name is, I'm going to give it as EMP data complex. So let me copy this and give it here as type. So under the type, I should add the prefix as TNS. Okay, the TNS. This one, the alias name of this namespace. So that's how we need to separate the elements. Here I'm getting, I'm using use. So this is the namespace. Okay. After separating all the elements, this is what we got. Okay. So this is the namespace. Namespace according to this structure. Okay, let's see how it is going. So let's see how it is going. Let me create XML file using this the schema. Right click on it, say new other. I'm going to say XML file, and I'm going to give for the name as PMP data, and then say next. Create XML using schema and its location, and it's PMP data, right? So let me select this, remove the TNS, save OK, and say finish. On. You can see it has created the EMP data tag following all the rules and regulations given by the EMP data XSD XML schema design. You can see EMP data default value is 0 because it is integer name. It has given some default value, and the salary is double, so it has given taken 0.0, and the gender and address are the string data type, so it has given some default name, not default name, some name. So that's XML following all the rules and regulations given by the schema. This is about the schemas. Let me talk about the few more things. Let me create one simple schema. I will say XML schema, and I will give the name as sample. Okay, finish. So when I select, so let's say that this is a simple namespace, and let's say this employees. So inside it we have some complex. Let's say this complex data type. Let's say that we have been using. Let's say that it has some sequence data like for the name, key number, for the type, int. Similarly, let's say that we have one more simple element at the name, and the salary, it's of the double, and name is of the string. Okay, let's say that this is the element. This is a simple schema what we have. So if you look at this thing, we have used the tag on a sequence. So it should follow this order. The first we should get EMP number, next we should get name, next we should get salary. So this is the order it needs to follow. So we have one more tag that is known as um, So we have one more tag, so that is known as the uh, choice. So one more element that is known as choice. So let me remove the sequence and add the things in the choice. I'm going to remove sequence. So instead of sequence, I'm making use of the complex. So, I have selected the choice. So let's see how it is going to create. How the XML schema is going to be. XML is going to be. Let me create XML following this XML schema sample. Okay, I'm going to say next. And to create XML using the schema. So let me select the XML. So this is my XML schema. Let me say next. Finish. So here I've selected choice, right? So you can give a number, or you can give salary, you can give name. Anything is optional, or you can remove this e number as well. Let me remove this and save. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a name. See, so anything is choice. You can select name, or you can select e number. You can select number, name, or salary. Anything is okay. So let me add one more salary. Save it. Only one. We should select only one. So when you say choice, you can select any of these three. Any one of these three. It can be name, e number, or salary. Okay. Let's select salary now. Into space and select. You can select all these three. Okay. Happen. So we can give any of these things. So I have given name, e number. So let me give name, some name. Okay. If at all you want to go with the salary, you can also give that one. I mean, that thing is fine. So you can give any of these three, any one of these three. Okay, so that's about the choice. We have one more option known as any, one more option known as all. We can use this tag to write all the tags with any order. With any order. So let me remove this tag. Okay, we have the tag known as all. So I have selected instead of the sequence or choice, I have selected the all. So let me save this and so let me create the XML file. Right click on it, say XML. See if you can follow any order. Let me copy this and paste it in between here. So the order is not mandatory. When we say sequence, we must and should follow the order order given in the XML schema. Here I have followed the name, year number, salary. So whereas the XML schema I have this order, year number, name, and salary. Whereas here the XML I have followed some other order. So let me place salary at the top and e number at the bottom. So e number is at the bottom here and salary at the bottom. So whereas in the XML schema, I have defined enumber at the top and the salary at the bottom. So using this tag all, you can mention, you can follow any order. Okay. So that's about the sequence choice and all tags. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.